With everything that's happening or not happening with Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake, it's kind of brought me back into the world of KOTOR 1 and 2. And one of the interesting things that have come up is KOTOR 2 a masterpiece game, or is it just a great game? I made a video recently that was a tier list of these games, and I put Knights of the Republic 1 as the greatest game of all time, and I put KOTOR 2 as just a great game, right? So I didn't call it a masterpiece, and some people very heavily disagreed with me on that, both on the comments and DMs and friends, and also Twitch and the live streams. People just really like KOTOR 2 a lot more than I do, apparently. But it kind of got me thinking and ideating on this stuff. And I found this article that I thought was pretty interesting. The article is named 18 Years Later, the Star Wars KOTOR 2 Remake Will Finally Deliver Closure. This article is really about the KOTOR 2 port to Nintendo Switch, and it's a little bit older, but I think still has some good stuff in it, so let's get into it. Alright, so even in the hallowed halls of Star Wars games, Knights of the Republic 2, The Sith Lords stands out as one of the very best. A sequel to BioWare's 2003 role-playing epic, KOTOR 2 was developed by Obsidian Entertainment, the studio now responsible for hits like Fallout New Vegas and Outer Worlds, and also Pillars of Eternity, they forgot to mention that one. What's most surprising about KOTOR 2 is that it was released only 1 year after the original game, meaning it had a severely condensed development cycle. Despite that, the game became a cult classic, although it's notorious for feeling unfinished. Was Knights of the Old Republic 2 released unfinished? The only way KOTOR 2 could release 1 year after the original was by reusing a wealth of assets from BioWare's last game. It's easy to see how it might feel like a glorified expansion pack. But KOTOR 2 really did make a variety of improvements in terms of both gameplay and story. To this day, it's one of the only pieces of Star Wars media that explores the moral gray between light and dark sides of the Force. Despite what it does well, KOTOR 2 was notorious for feeling unfinished, with an ending that felt abrupt and that it almost negated choices you made across the experience. So there's some interesting stuff here. I actually agree that it feels like a glorified expansion pack. I think if you could strip out probably 35 to 40% of KOTOR 2, polish what you have left, and sell it as a $30 expansion for KOTOR 1, and people would have been tripping over that thing. That would have been amazing. But there are sections that you could have almost definitely cut out. I think Paragus was really long, and there was nothing in it. And Harbinger, same. Everyone's just dead, and you don't really talk to anyone but your party. And Telos wasn't that interesting, especially when you compare it to Terrace and Dantooine in the first game. Speaking of Dantooine in the second game probably could have been cut out. Like, that one felt empty and not as fun. Nar Shaddaa and Duxon and Onderon were amazing. Those sections were awesome. But you probably could have packaged together as a DLC, and I think it would have been a lot better. Okay, so Obsidian was founded by ex-members of Black Isle Studio, the developer behind the original Fallout games. Among the founders was Chris Avallone, who'd worked as lead designer on Obsidian's first project, KOTOR 2. In a 2013 interview with Eurogamer, Avallone said Obsidian was given roughly 14 months from start to finish for KOTOR 2. There would have been substantial penalties had we not have made that date, says Avallone. Okay. So this is the fundamental problem with KOTOR 2. I don't really hold it against Obsidian for producing a somewhat unpolished and unfinished game, in my opinion, because of the development cycle. 14 months is redonkulously short. Herein lies one of the big problems in the gaming industry. The guys above rush the development of the game and then push it out the door and then collect their check, and then they're good to go. While we're left as fans, as at least some of us, somewhat disappointed in the game because it just kind of felt incomplete to me. And I don't really put that blame on Obsidian. They did the best with what they could. It's just not enough time. And I wonder if Obsidian would have been given like 2.5 year development cycle. Let's call it 28 months. What could they have produced? Like, how good of a game would that have been? I actually think it would have been a great game. I have nothing against Obsidian. Apparently, part of the problem, according to Avallone, was that Obsidian was simply too ambitious. We should have removed all mini-games. That was a huge waste of time. Now, this was interesting to me because I actually love the mini-games. I love Pazak and I love Swoop Bike Racing. I can't think if there's anything else Nothing's coming to mind, but I actually enjoy the minigames, so that's kind of surprising to me. Anyway, all those cutscenes we had, the engine sequences, all those were such a huge pain in the butt to set up, and we could never count on them reliably, said Avalon. Yeah, the cutscenes are always funny to me because of those older games. One of the hallmarks of, I'd say, like pre-2007 games is the cutscenes were terrible. Like, the cutscenes looked worse than the actual game. The game looked better. And our rendering technology has gotten so much better now, where obviously that's inversed. Like, the cutscenes look amazing, and so does gameplay. But I don't think it's of dispute that cutscenes typically look better than the actual game. All of this resulted in some major cuts to KOTOR 2, particularly near the end of the game. It's more amazing that Obsidian managed to put out such a stellar game in that short of a time, especially since it was the studio's first project. That is facts. The fact that this game had a 14th-month development cycle and is as good as it is, which is to me a great game, is not a slouch at all. That's a huge accomplishment. And I think people recognize that. Obsidian's gone on to make some amazing games. Obviously, Fallout New Vegas, Outer Worlds, and Pillars of Eternity. Those are some great games. They've definitely gotten opportunities since then. And I think everyone recognizes that they were kind of dealt the short end of the stick. And then the article goes and talks about the restored content mod, which ultimately is kind of the reason I found this article, because I've never played the restored content mod. And there's a thought in the back of my brain that, you know, maybe if they actually would have finished that content, I would call it a masterpiece. And so I'm playing the game again. You can find it on Twitch and YouTube Live. And we're going to try to see if that changes anything for me. And we're probably going to make a video later that kind of is a deep dive into why I think KOTOR 2 is a great game and not a masterpiece, or maybe why I've elevated to masterpiece after playing the restored content mod. Hit the like and subscribe button and stay tuned for that. I'm hoping to get that out in the next couple of weeks. But anyway, yeah, this KOTOR 2 is an amazing game. I don't want people to think that I don't think it's an amazing game. My biggest point is, can we really call such an unfinished product a masterpiece? Because a masterpiece to me is damn near perfect. And any game that I had in that masterpiece category, to me, was damn near perfect. So let me know in the comments, is KOTOR 2 a masterpiece? And let me know why you guys think that. I really love engaging with you guys and talking about this stuff. I don't have a lot of people I can talk to Star Wars about. And then also let me know if you guys think KOTOR 2 is better than KOTOR 1. I've had a surprising amount of people tell me that they like KOTOR 2 more than KOTOR 1, and that was kind of mind-boggling for me. But anyway, let me know in the comments, and we'll catch you next time.